Hey everyone, it's James from FunFoods, and today I'm going to show you how to make these Mountain Dew Cupcakes. Now they have Mountain Dew in the cupcake and Mountain Dew in the frosting, so keep watching and I'll show you step by step how to make these. The first thing we want to do is start off with a large bowl, and to that I'm going to add a cake mix. And I'm using this Pillsbury brand. It's not a sponsor, it's just my favorite white cake mix brand. You're just going to add that cake mix into the large bowl. Next, you want to add a half a cup of vegetable oil. And you're going to add 4 egg whites. These are just the whites from the egg. Now, of course, if you're not doing a white cake mix, you want a yellow cake, you can use the whole egg, but just use 3 of them. In this particular cake mix calls for 1 1/4 cup of water, but we're making Mountain Dew pancakes, so we're going to substitute that water for, what else? Mountain Dew. So I have 1 1/4 cups of Mountain Dew in here. Just pour that in there. And we're going to mix this up for a couple minutes on medium speed. Now after a couple minutes, your cupcake mix should look fine, but at this stage, it's completely optional. I'm going to add some yellow food coloring. The reason why is because I want to use green food coloring for my frosting, so I'll use yellow for the actual cupcakes. Again, this step is purely optional and just for aesthetic purposes. Now I like to use the gel-based food coloring because it gives it a brighter color. You can use the water base if you'd like. It'll work. Now just mix in the food coloring. And there we go, that is gonna be our cupcake mix, cupcake batter. So next we're just gonna put these in cupcake liners and then put them in the oven. Now I'm just gonna fill our cupcake liners, and again, I'm just using an ice cream scoop so I don't make a big mess. You just wanna fill these cupcakes to about half full. Now that our cupcakes are in the oven baking, what we're going to do is turn our attention to the frosting. And to make this is going to be an extra step more than normal frosting because this is Mountain Dew cupcakes and only the best for Mountain Dew, right? So we can't just go to the store and buy Mountain Dew flavoring. They don't really sell it that way. So what we're going to do is I have a small pot here, and I'm going to add 2 cups of Mountain Dew soda to this small pot. Now we're just going to bring this pot over to the stove and we're going to boil it for just 5 minutes. What we're trying to do is remove as much water out of this soda as possible so we're left with a more concentrated flavor. And now you see our Mountain Dew is starting to boil, so we'll set our timer for 5 minutes exactly. Now after 5 minutes of boiling, we can turn off the heat. And we just want to let this sit here and cool down a bit before we move on to the next step. All right, so our cupcakes were in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. What I'm going to do right now is check the cupcakes just to make sure they cooked properly. I'm just going to take a toothpick, stick it in. If I pull it out and it's clean, then they've cooked. Now just let these sit and cool down before we move on to the next step. For our next step in the frosting, start with a large bowl. And to that, I'm going to add 1 cup or 2 sticks of softened butter. Just make sure the butter is softened at room temperature. And beat this butter until it's nice and smooth. Alright, so once the butter is nice and smooth, I beat it for about 2 minutes. We want to add a little air to it by beating it like that. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to add just a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract to this. And I'm adding 2 tablespoons of our concentrated Mountain Dew that we just heated up over the stove. Mix that in there. Should only take a minute or so. Now what I have in this bowl is 2 cups of confectionery sugar or powdered sugar or icing sugar, whatever you want to call it. It's 2 cups, and we're going to slowly add it to our butter. And here we go. So after that's mixed in really good, just take a rubber spatula and scrape down the sides. You see we have this perfect frosting texture. If you find that's a little too runny, you can always add more confectionery sugar or powdered sugar. But if it's too dry, you can just add either some milk or water. Either way works great, or maybe even Mountain Dew. So since these are Mountain Dew cupcakes, now this step is purely optional, of course. I'm gonna dye these green. So I just have some gel-based food coloring, and I'm only gonna put a little bit in here. And we can mix this up. There we go, that is our frosting. Now the fun part is we get to decorate our Mountain Dew cupcakes. Next step is we're going to decorate our cupcakes, but before we do that, we got to put this in a piping bag. Now, of course, you don't have to use a piping bag, it just makes it easier. So one of the tricks I do is take a piping bag, turn it inside out into a cup, just so you're not fumbling around with it to try to figure out how to get the icing in there or the frosting in there without making a big mess. And I take a big scoop, and voila. And now just pull your bag through. And push it down, twisting. Now I have a very large tip on this. This is a Wilton 1M tip, and it's a very large, like a star type tip. And it's a good idea to practice just a minute on something else. There we go. Also gets the air out of the bag. Now just take your cupcake, and you can decorate any way you like. I'm gonna start in the middle. Big, wide, rosy turn. It's one way of doing it. Next, let's start on the outside and kind of work our way in. And just do the rest of them just like that, or any old way you like. And that is your Mountain Dew cupcakes. Well, now it's time for the taste test. I'm gonna give this a shot and see how my Mountain Dew cupcakes taste. It's good. I don't have an overwhelming Mountain Dew flavor in the frosting. I have a slight hint of the Mountain Dew flavor in the cupcake itself. So I would say the cupcake tasted more like Mountain Dew than the frosting, but the frosting did taste like just a regular buttercream frosting. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these Mountain Dew cupcakes. It was a lot of fun making these. I hope you get a chance to make them for yourself. It doesn't have an overwhelming Mountain Dew taste to it, but it does have a good taste to it, so I do encourage you to make them for yourself. And if you figure out a way to add more Mountain Dew flavor to it, please let me know. I'm always happy to learn things like that. For right now, check out some of the videos I have off to the side. I think you may enjoy those as well. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure you hit that big red subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to get new videos every week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. For right now, I'll be making Mountain Dew videos every Saturday from here on out. So be sure to check back every Saturday for a different Mountain Dew recipe. Be sure to check back every Sunday for a regular recipe, and I'm going to try to do another recipe one more day during the week as well, maybe a Tuesday or Thursday. So for right now, hit those little bell notifications so you'll be notified when I put those videos out. Until then, I'll see you next time.